No man ever prayed heartily without learning something. The highest activity a human being can attain is learning for understanding, because to understand is to be free. The main part of intellectual education is not the acquisition of facts, but learning how to make facts live. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. The past is a place of learning, not a place of living. You think education is expensive? Try estimating the cost of ignorance. It is not that I'm so smart, but I stay with the questions much longer. Learning is a treasure that will follow its owner everywhere. A man who asks is a fool for 5 minutes. A man who never asks is a fool for life. I don't think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. Never let formal education get in the way of your learning. To make no mistakes is not in the power of man, but from their errors and mistakes. The wise and good learn wisdom for the future. The minute that you're not learning, I believe you're dead. Try to learn something about everything and everything about something. It is of practical value to learn to like yourself. Since you must spend so much time with yourself, you might as well get some satisfaction out of the relationship. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. Any fool can know. Point is to understand. A wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. Neither comprehension or learning can take place in an atmosphere of anxiety. Learning is the beginning of wealth. Learning is the beginning of health. Learning is the beginning of spirituality. Searching and learning is where the miracle process all begins. Knowledge, which is acquired under compulsion, obtains no hold on the mind. A teacher is one who makes himself progressively unnecessary. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. A good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. Change is the end result of all true learning. I have been a teacher myself all my life. I have an intense passion to share with people. Our only salvation is in knowledge, in learning. We now accept the fact that learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast of change. And the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. The learning and knowledge that we have is, at the most, but little compared with that of which we are ignorant. I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught. Some books leave us free and some books make us free. Don't just teach your children to read. Teach them to question what they read. Teach them to question everything. Kids don't remember what you try to teach them. They remember what you are. I think the big mistake in schools is trying to teach children anything, and by using fear as the basic motivation, fear of getting failing grades, fear of not staying with your class, etc. Interest can produce learning on a scale compared to fear as a nuclear explosion to a firecracker. True teachers are those who use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross. Then, having facilitated their crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to create their own. Whoso neglects learning in his youth loses the past and is dead for the future. Study without desire spoils the memory, and it retains nothing that it takes in. Instruction does much, but encouragement everything. I don't love studying. I hate studying. I like learning. Learning is beautiful. A man who reads too much and uses his own brain too little falls into lazy habits of thinking. The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. One of the greatest and simplest tools for learning more and growing is doing more. He who is not every day conquering some fear has not learned the secret of life. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. There is no school equal to a decent home and no teacher equal to a virtuous parent. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. Perfecting oneself is as much unlearning as it is learning. Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. By 3 methods we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. You cannot open a book without learning something. Learn as though you would never be able to master it. Hold it as though you would be in fear of losing it. The more I read, the more I acquire, the more certain I am that I know nothing. No problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. Education without application is just entertainment. For me, I am driven by 2 main philosophies. Know more today about the world than I knew yesterday and lessen the suffering of others. You'd be surprised how far that gets you. Learn to light a candle in the darkest moments of someone's life. Be the light that helps others see. It is what gives life its deepest significance. Let the improvement of yourself keep you so busy that you have no time to criticize others. Never let hard lessons harden your heart. The hard lessons of life are meant to make you better, not bitter. Most of us must learn to love people and use things rather than loving things and using people. Failure is a bend in the road, not the end of the road. Learn from failure and keep moving forward. I have learned all kinds of things from my many mistakes. The one thing I never learn is to stop making them. The beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you. One who has imagination without learning has wings without feet. You don't learn to walk by following rules. You learn by doing and by falling over. I like to listen. I have learned a great deal from listening carefully. Most people never listen. Learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended with diligence. You haven't learned the meaning of friendship. You haven't learned anything. Anyone who isn't embarrassed of who they were last year probably isn't learning enough. Each life is made up of mistakes and learning, waiting and growing, practicing patience and being persistent. In a time of drastic change, it is the learners who inherit the future. The learned usually find themselves equipped to live in a world that no longer exists. The one thing that I keep learning over and over again is that I don't know nothing. I mean, that's my life lesson. And I believe that the best learning process, any kind of craft, is just to look at the work of others.